time. I love the applause.
Yeah.
Hey, bud, how are you?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm as happy as a puppy with two Peters.
So we need a double episode today about manscaping, huh?
Exactly.
Well, welcome back to Barstool Breakdowns with your hosts,
Yes.
Andy and Matt. Apparently, Andy is doing great with his two dog Peters.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. So what are we drinking today, Andy?
Little Angel's Envy Rye today. Can't beat that.
And we have had a couple of these already.
Yeah, and
so
if you have never
buckle
had
up.
Angel's Envy, I will tell you, even the corn, even the straight bourbon is good. The rye, you're gonna pay twice as much, but baby, it's worth it. It's good stuff.
Amen.
Very good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for all our new followers. We've had a lot of activity this last week, and your teaser trailer about today's sensitive episode was on point. I'm driving back from my day job meetings in Wichita, Kansas, and it was a rough day, and I get this damn video sent to me about you talking about shaving your undercarriage, and I about pissed my pants driving up I-35. I called you, and I think all you heard was a man crying and laughter in the background.
Yeah, I didn't even. So I answered the headphone down here, and I hit answer it, and I was going to switch it over to the speaker. And before I could even switch to the speaker, I could already hear Matt's cackle.
Like that.
And he's got a cackle. That one.
Okay, my chipmunk.
Yeah, the chipmunk cackle.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
That was so great. But yeah, welcome back to the show. Welcome to all of you back to the show. We're glad to have you here. Thank you so much again for the support. We've had a lot of great followership growth this last week, and you can find us on TikTok at Barstool Breakdown. Same thing with Instagram. We are on Spotify podcast, and we got picked up by Apple Podcasts as well, which is awesome.
We're on YouTube.
We are on YouTube, exactly. So for the full length of videos of this show, which is where you're watching it today, on YouTube, Barstool Breakdowns, we have a couple of good shorts on there as well. And we're on Twitter at Barstool Guys. So please do follow, like, share, and comment, and share the love. We love to have new people watching our show, new followers, and we are getting a lot of new people every single day. So I think you need to have more videos of you manscaping your junk, because apparently that was popular.
It went over well.
So far, so good.
We actually had some international listeners on our podcast.
We did. Australia, right?
Australia.
Yeah. And then Moscow. I saw that.
Yes.
That's wild.
I know.
Sure that's not like Moscow, Missouri or something like that, or like Paris, Texas, you know what I mean?
No, I think it was...
Was it really the old USSR?
The former USSR.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome, Putin. So...
We're going to take our shirts off and ride horses in honor of you.
I am not.
Okay.
We need more followers, Andy, not less. So, at any rate.
How many followers do we need to get to for you to take off your shirt and ride a horse?
Well, first of all, I don't ride horses.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
So, a lot. So let's just put it that way.
Well, it could be fun then. That would be better.
So, we were talking about a lot of things this last week, and Andy and I, we talk every single day. If you guys know us well, we've been best friends for 20 some odd years, and
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot.
It's a labor.
It's a labor
of love.
Love?
No,
I don't know about all that. Another show. But some interesting news this week, I thought. My son brought this up to me and then read about it a little bit. And seriously, like, I hope these people are going to be okay, but I don't
this thing is freaking crazy.
I don't think they are. So the Titanic Submersible tour thing, right? Sunday, Monday, I think, is when this submersible went down with 5 or 6 people, and it was like $250,000, I think, a ticket.
Yeah, what? I'm not paying $250,000 to go down on anything.
You might. So, but especially not this situation. And there's not enough money on the planet to pay me to get strapped in this thing and go that far down, right? Okay, no matter what it is. But they got lost, which blows my mind. And they were doing sonar and they could hear people knocking.
Yeah,
that's pretty sad stuff, But and you said you saw an interview with a guy.
I did. It was either on Good Morning America or like the Today Show, but it was a guy that he had put his deposit down on this a few months ago or weeks ago or whatever to be on this trip and backed out like at the last minute. He said that just the structural integrity of the submersible itself was not up to par. And the emails and correspondence they were getting from the crew and from the owners of this excursion were just proving more and more every time they had correspondence that they had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I believe, so he got his deposit back. He canceled, got his deposit back. But I believe, if I'm correct, a friend of his actually still went on the trip. So
it kind of made me think of today's topic a little bit. I know this is going to be a little bit soon, but that's what we do here at Barstool Breakdowns. But, speaking of diving deep into unknown territory.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but I knew it had to do something with, that's a little too soon. Probably a little too soon.
So our topic today, right? Grooming and manscaping, womenscaping, right? From beard to balls, I guess is the way you branded it. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that.
Beard to balls.
But that's our topic of the day, right? There's a lot of conversations out there. We've had conversations, in our dating life and whatnot, and we both have female friends we talk to about all this kind of stuff, and it's it's a perfectly fine topic, and we all deal with it. We all have it.
I think I think a lot of people do it. A lot of people have questions about it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah, it seems like a risque conversation, and hey, that's what we do here at Barstool Breakdowns. We talk about stuff.
We talk about uncomfortable things.
So grooming, obviously, everything from head to toe. Okay, we're going to probably focus a lot of our conversation today around the midsection.
What do they call it?
I like to call the downtown mix-up.
Okay.
There was once a meme or like a thing about this Australian weirdo that drank Bailey's from a shoe, and his whole thing was my downtown mix-up. And I just keep calling it downtown mix-up. If you know what I'm talking about, send me the video because that shit was funny.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, Australian comedy's weird. It's just a little bit better than British comedy.
I was going to say British comedy's really bad too.
Australian comedy's really strange.
I mean, they're kind of like step cousins, aren't they?
Well, they're related. Like,
wasn't Australia wasn't that like a prison colony?
A little bit.
Like you escaped. That's where
your lineage escaped. A lot.
But
anyway, so downtown mix-up. We're probably going to talk a lot about that today.
That was your downtown hang down.
It's whatever makes you feel better at night, folks, right? So at any rate, so we're sipping our Angel's Envy today. We're talking about some grooming, some manscaping, some tips, and you've got some stats which I was blown away by.
I don't want to spend a lot of time reading to people off of a piece of paper.
No, I know, but it's interesting to kind of hear about some of this
stuff.
So
I did find some stuff online, a University of California study that they did. They interviewed, there's a couple different studies. So the first one was all guys, ages 18 to 65. They weren't very specific. They said 4,198.
That's a very specific number. Okay, yeah.
I thought that was odd. Why not just 4,200 or whatever?
Sounds like my ex-wife's roster. Continue.
Anyway, I was surprised. Only 50.5% of those guys said that they regularly groom.
Really?
Yeah, half.
Are those just the married dudes?
Well, and that's the bad thing, without lack of a pie chart. I like a good piece of pie.
Don't we all?
To break down like married versus single,
right.
To break down these ages into their own specific cohort groups. I told you guys it's a lot to be his friend. But yeah, I'd be interested to see. I would think there's not a lot of 65 guys that are rocking the manscaping the weed eater. But I don't know about a lot of 18-year-old. Does that need to become part of like the birds and bees subject with your kids when they're younger? Is that something that?
I don't think so.
No,
I think that's something you figure out for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. My guess would be, and you and I talked a little bit about this before we got on air. My guess would be that single guys are probably doing it a lot more than married guys are.
The ones that are actively dating, the ones living in their mom's basements, not so much.
No, they have a pit with a dog.
Right.
That puts the lotion on its
podcast
skin.
Studio.
Puts the lotion on its skin, or else it gets the hose again.
But I would have to. I think it's across the board. I think it's more age range.
So
right?
I can say, for me, it was more of a priority. Not that I didn't do it. Mm-hmm. It was more of a priority for me after my divorce than it was during my marriage.
Right.
You?
No, honestly, it was before I got divorced. Number one,
Yeah.
it was a curiosity thing. Like, well, I
Okay.
wonder what the.
Wonder if it would make it look bigger like this.
I mean, I'll take whatever I can get. Just saying.
I'm not mad at you.
No, guys, I know. Feel me. Anyways, but I just was like curious one day, and then that was it. And I don't know what I would look like any way other. It's probably been 20 years. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I'm
might.
very. It's like it's never.
well, I think it's kind of like your beard and your haircut. You know, once you figure out what you like, you keep it.
Well, I can tell you, I shave down there a hell of a lot more than I shave my face. Well, that's not a bad thing.
That's not.
Okay.
It's not. No, I appreciate you sharing. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, I mean, it's a.
No, the same way. I mean,
It's a normal.
You know,
It's a normal
you
routine.
shower, you do your thing. You know.
Now,
whatever.
I was surprised to read that one website said that cold water is your friend.
You did tell me about
Yeah.
that, which that's a constricting thing,
Yeah, it's constricting.
and that's odd to me. But
Well, and that's the reason why. It's because it
Oh.
like kind of firms things up a little bit
yeah,
when the water hits it. Kind of firms things up a little bit.
yeah.
But then after that, still you have to kind of like
Stretch Armstrong it.
you gotta. I did cut one of those open one time to see what was inside of it.
What's inside one of those?
Like
things?
this red jelly stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah. I had Stretch Armstrong. My brother had like this green monster guy. It wasn't the Hulk. It was like had like a Godzilla head, and I had Stretch.
Okay.
He had like this weird. Anyway,
Wow. All right.
We actually cut his open. We didn't cut mine
Very
open.
good. So cold water, you say?
Cold water. Cold water to affect the restriction and the tightening.
The
so that
pores
you-
and follicles, and
so
stuff,
that you
yeah.
have a tighter. It'd be like the difference between like running a razor like over an apple
Okay.
versus like running it over. What would be a good thing to compare that to?
I don't know. I'm waiting with bated breath here.
I was thinking like an octopus or something, but that doesn't make any sense.
I don't think
Something
octopus,
they don't have
octopi
a
shave.
octopus. I'm talking about it's the difference between shaving against a firm surface versus shaving against
Sure.
like a droopy kind of
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Next on Barstool Confessions with Andy.
You know what?
Saggy balls.
Saggy balls.
Anyways, no, I mean that does
ball
make some
area.
sense. But I think you also, and you've got some notes here as far as like some tips and things when you are grooming your downtown Mixup, right?
Yeah, 'cause
Showering beforehand, I think helps to soften up the hair follicles, just like you would like with your face or ladies your legs or.
and it also cleans there's a lot of bacteria in that area.
Yeah.
You do a lot of sweating down there. You do a lot.
Sure.
There's a lot of warmth, and you told me not to say moisture, but
Swamp
I'm
ass.
saying moisture. There's a lot of stuff down there that can.
Moist. Sorry, ladies.
Some people hate that word.
Oh, you mean
Like-
like women? Women hate that word.
Hate the word moist.
Yeah, kind of like we hate the word no.
I doubt if they're quite in the same.
Yeah, it's close. It's close.
I don't mind.
But
the
you
word
have to
no.
accept it. Anyways, continue.
Anyway, shower beforehand. Get cleaned up.
Yeah.
It does help soften whatever it is that you're about to shave. But also too that they talked about using razors with a minimal amount of blades, like 2 at the most.
So less is more.
Yeah, because you're reducing the amount of opportunities to get cut, which actually goes into another statistic that we had.
Yeah.
There are a lot of emergency room reports about manscaping injuries. Now, I would have to assume that this has to be about like first time guys, maybe.
Maybe, but I mean, I'll be honest, like even to this day from time to time, if I'm trimming the verge, if you will,
Yeah.
if I'm not being real careful, if you're using the wrong equipment, there can be.
What we don't
Nicks.
normally print stuff out, but I wanted to share it.
I'm surprised you can read.
I do.
Left to right. Sounded out, sweetie.
So, most common types of injuries men get when manscaping. Are you ready for this?
Nope.
26% of all people in this study have been hurt while grooming, breaking down to about 500 men. Out of this particular study had 4,200 adults, well, 7,600 adults, and 3,400 of those were men.
Okay.
So of those 3,400, 26% of them, which is 560, have been injured while grooming, while manscaping. 61% of injuries were categorized as cuts. 23% were burns, followed by 12% as rashes. And I'm wondering if rashes includes like ingrown hairs.
Yeah,
or,
I mean, I think that's pretty common.
You got to shave.
You got to use a new razor, and
And you're supposed to shave with the grain. Going against the grain will help get you a little smoother
in the moment.
Right.
But
it's also a good way to get ingrown hairs and get all
well,
kinds
it's one thing too. If you've been shaving for years, like some of us old pros, you can whatever and you're good to go. Kind of like with your facial hair or ladies, your legs. Eventually you can kind of go against the grain.
I have no like when I first started doing it.
Yeah.
God, I would get itchy as hell.
Yeah. Well, that's chlamydia though, Andy.
Oh my God.
I mean gonorrhea.
Officially 52 years STD free. Never had one.
So he says. So continue.
I'll show you my doctor's records. Anyway, 9% of those injuries developed into an infection.
Is that right? Like pus and stuff?
You're still like hanging on to my last one. So 1.4% of the people needed medical help, 49 needed antibiotics, and 36 needed an abscess drained or a cut stitched. What the hell are you guys shaving with out there?
Damn. Weed eaters or something? Or
Butcher knife?
I was going to say. Yeah, don't know. Yeah, there's very specific equipment available on Amazon.
Would you like to know how the percentages break down as to what part of the area is from being manscaped?
Yeah. Yes and no, but let's go with yes.
So 67% of manscaping injuries occurred on the scrotal saccage area.
Okay.
If you know what that is.
Ball bag, right?
Yep. 35% happened on the shafterino. And 29% on the mons pubic. I think that's Greek.
Is that Greek?
I think it is.
Okay, for rest your... Anyways. Yeah,
Mons pubic, so above. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware of that area. Yeah, if you're not, Google or
heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Right. The crown. Thanks, Andy. I like that plug.
It's another story.
That's a tattoo conversation for a
Yep.
very different episode, which
Yep.
some people know about that. But at any rate.
Yeah, so it sounds like quality razors.
You got to have a new razor. You got to make sure it's, single blade's probably best, right? If you're going to be razoring.
Can I talk about razors again while we're talking about this?
Yeah.
Don't use the same razors to clean your junk up as you do to clean your face up. Because you could be like spreading some kind of bacteria from your balls to your beard.
You spread bacteria.
And Jesus Christ, man. So anyway, also don't use anybody else's razor. So like, don't use your wife's razor. Don't use your girlfriend's razor. Don't use your daughter's razor. Yeah. So yeah, cross-contamination. We were talking earlier about that guy shaves himself and he's got jock itch or something.
Oh God.
Shaves his face. And
Yeah.
that would not be a good situation.
Smell like feet.
I have a story for next week. We're talking about fetishes next week about a guy who dated a girl that had a foot fetish and he accommodated her and she had something on her feet and
She's an athlete.
she was an athlete.
And he apparently then became an athlete's footwear.
He acquired athlete's feet on a
foot thing. It's good.
He ended up with a podiatrist type infection and
foot itch on his jock itch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Okay.
Because he was fulfilling a fetish. Anyway, getting off, but great lead in for next week. So a little foreshadowing too. But we've talked about too. Stretching. That was another thing that came up.
Oh, right.
You're going to put you may possibly put yourself into some positions that you haven't been for in a while, depending on how deep you want to get into this manscaping situation. Mm-hmm. So be prepared for some cramping if you don't stretch.
Well, sometimes, when you're by yourself in your bathroom, laying down on the floor, being a little bit of a contortionist to get some don't look at me like that. We've all been there. Come on now.
Dude, I don't know how you're manscaping, but I've never had to lay on the floor in my bathroom.
There's a lot of stuff involved in that.
Right. Well, I do have a seat in my shower, so maybe that's...
Well, that's because you're old as... But anyway, so you got to be able to be a little bit limber to get to some of the angles of attack if you want to put that.
Depends on how intense your
sometimes it's about
scaping
quality.
has become. Yeah, you might want to stretch. That was another thing. Another suggestion they had was to have a first aid kit on hand.
When I heard that before, I'm thinking if you got to have a first aid kit on hand, maybe we pause on putting sharp instruments near your junk.